minimal form of a try block. Try, block of code to test, except, block of code to execute in case of error, or with an exception that can be caught and a message gets printed on the screen. We can also set a tuplets of expressions, for cases where the same code must be interpreted for different errors, like except IO error, value error. Therefore, we have several except statements, considering different errors that can happen, and include a finally clause. Else will allow it to execute an action if no error occurs in the block. This will be run if either the try nor the except gives a result or not. Built-in exceptions. Some exceptions contain other exceptions. For example, exception groups, all exceptions except keyboard interrupt, system exit, and of course, base exception, which groups all exceptions. The hierarchy is as follows. Base exception groups all built-in exceptions. User-defined exceptions should not inherit them directly, but inherit from exception. System exit is the exception thrown by sys.exit. If it is not intercepted by an exception, the program stops. It does not inherit from exception, so that when the developer seeks to catch all possible errors, it does not prevent the program from quitting. Keyboard interrupt is stated when the user presses interrupt keys, usually Ctrl+C. Like system exit, it inherits directly from base exception for the same reasons. Exception groups all exceptions that do not relate to program closure. Your own exceptions must derive from it. It is usually used to ensure that everything worked well, and if not, to intercept and then display the error that occurred. Customize exceptions. Raising an exception. Raise exception type message. We set year as year input from the user. We try to convert the year to an integer, since it should not be a string or character. If it is less than 0, we give it an error message. If the conversion to integer fails, we set another message. Here is a class named myException with two methods. init surrounded by double underscores takes reason as an argument. The str function is the one that is called when trying to display the instance of the exception. I have so far called e. Here it refers to reason. There is then a function multiplier by 5, which multiplies the argument n by 5, provided that it is not greater than 20. Otherwise, the keyboard raise is used to launch the exception. Docstring. The docstring is a string placed just after the definition of a module, class, function, or method. This string becomes the special doc attribute of the object. We have defined an additional function that returns the result of adding two numbers together. Writing docstrings offers many advantages. The help function displays this documentation in a shell. Programming tools, such as shells or IDEs, display this documentation when the developer who does not read your code but uses it needs it. You can generate a good code doc with commands that extract these docstrings. We can also document modules by placing docstring as the first expression. You can type the doc where I have written, "Here's a great module that will do many great things." We can document a class and its methods also. You can write the doc for the class after defining the class name or after defining the method.